This poem is about Odysseus and the deadly singing sirens. Odysseus was an ancient Greek hero who fought in the Trojan War and then took many years to get home. And while he was on his way home, he encountered lots of very, very interesting characters, including the sirens. I'd always liked this story, and I wanted to write a longer narrative poem with a bit of a twist. So I reread the tale of Odysseus and thought about how he must have felt having heard the song of the sirens but not been able to go to them. So this is Siren Song. Sirens! The cry went round the ship as swift as if they'd sighted home, and every sailor felt the grip of fear and gathered in a throng, for no man can resist the song of sirens luring them to come and run their ships into the rocks by chasing the enchanted tones. "Tie me," cried Odysseus, "here are ropes, the mast is strong. Now bind me tight so I may hear the rapture of the spells they cast and yet be helpless to respond. Then plug this beeswax in your ears and we'll be safe from siren song." The ship sailed hesitantly past the outcrop where the sirens lay, and each one skimmed her voice across the waves, and each voice crept and slid and whispered to Odysseus, "O Captain, turn your ship our way, and you will have your heart's desire. For we know everything there is of gods and men, of land and sky, and every deed that's been and done, and every deed that is to come. And if you join us, you will live." Odysseus raged against his ties and screamed at his unhearing men, beseeched and threatened with his eyes for them to cut him free to steer the ship towards the sirens' cries. For the sirens promised him the world, and then he could go home again. But the men obeyed his first command and tied more ropes with shaking hands and pulled the oars and prayed the wind would fill the sail and move them clear, and soon they left the rocks behind. Their captain calmed as they sailed on, and soon he signaled with a frown that they should free him from the mast, and all the sailors cheered to think theirs was the only ship to pass the sirens and not break and sink. Odysseus lent his voice to theirs and told them how the sirens sang, and every sailor laughed and drank, hailing the gods and giving thanks. And in the hubbub, no one saw Odysseus growing pale and grieved, or how he pressed his ringing ears, or how he kept himself withdrawn, his eyes fixed on the rills of foam that flowed behind the merry boat, as if he longed for what was gone. "O Captain, turn your ship our way, and you will have your heart's desire. For we know everything there is of gods and men, of land and sky, and every deed that's been and done, and every deed that is to come. No one is safe from siren song."